Welcome to Chamber Chat. I am John Tayer, President and CEO of the Boulder Chamber, and I welcome you to a conversation about the state of affairs of our restaurant industry. And we have some leaders in our restaurant community and our dining community. I would say they are stars of our industry. And it starts with Marcy Miller, who is the owner of the Organic Sandwich Shop. We have Pasta J, who owns a restaurant. I can't remember what's the name.
It's close.
Close. I'll remember. I think it's Pasta J's, something like that. And then John Lehndorff, who is renowned in our community as somebody who has studied and understands the restaurant industry. He understands culinary expertise, and he currently is the food editor at the Boulder Weekly. So we have a great panel here to talk again about the state of affairs for our restaurant industry. And so I'm just going to start on my right here with Marcy and just ask, how is the restaurant industry in Boulder? And just from your own perspective, but also broadly.
Well, I think it's taken a while to recover from COVID. I feel very fortunate to still be here after dealing with issues from COVID. And unfortunately our Louisville store had to deal with the Marshall fire. Luckily we survived, but had to close down for smoke mitigation and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've kind of been in recovery mode and trying to adapt to food costs and increasing wages and all that good stuff. It's hard, but you have to be, I think, flexible and nimble. And I think we've been able to do that. We're a smaller operation, both stores. And I think that's helped us out.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say too, the community that we have here in Boulder and neighboring Louisville has been super helpful, not only with business owners coming together, but also the members of the community supporting local restaurants and helping us, kind of get through it all.
I love it. So wanting to support someone who's part of the community in a local business way.
Yes, I think a fun fact I love to share is 80% of the businesses in downtown Boulder are locally owned.
Yeah,
so,
it's always fun to remember that, because some people think of the sort of bigger, maybe more national chain names, but we have so many great local industries, restaurants, etc. And one of those who's been on the mall for quite some time, can speak from the breadth of experience over the years. How's it going for you? How does it relate to other periods of time?
Well, I kind of echo what Marcy said. I mean, coming out of the pandemic was a little bit tough. And then going into where we're at now, we're dealing with rising food costs, rising labor costs, which I don't understand with the employees, why we have to pay such a higher cost than we used to for tipped employees when they're walking with quite a bit of money at the end of the night and to be tipped out.
Yeah.
But I know Boulder was going to initiate something, and it's been tabled a little bit, and I don't know if that ever went through or not.
You mean the minimum wage?
Yeah,
minimum wage increase. Yeah.
So, and then property taxes are killing you downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a pass-through cost from the landlord to the tenant.
Yeah.
So, we're constantly feeling like we're the ones that are on the front lines getting hit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the food costs have never recovered. They've never went down.
Yeah.
The rising labor costs aren't going down.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do to increase your costs before you have sticker shock to the customers coming in. I mean, if you're a family-owned restaurant, they don't want to open up the menu and see that you're charging $24 for manicotti.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and you need to.
No matter how good it is.
Yeah, no matter how good it is. But you need to make some adjustments along the way.
Yeah.
And so it's tough. It's a balancing act. And then you throw in the fact that offices aren't open downtown.
Yeah.
So that impacts your lunch business, which also impacts your happy hour business, because people aren't not coming in after work from the offices for happy hour, or calling up the friends, say, hey, meet us downtown 5 o'clock, I'm getting off. Yeah. So people working from home has definitely hurt the downtown business.
Let me hit on that, and then maybe for both of you before I get to John. In terms of traffic, in terms of sort of the business activity, what has been the ebb and flow of it now, maybe relative to pre-COVID period?
Well, I think it improves a little each year, and I think a lot of that is tourism.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen some folks coming back to their offices, not obviously as it was pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the makeup for us has been in the tourist traffic.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's seeing more visitors coming to town who then patronize. Okay. What about you, Jim?
That seems to be a seasonality thing with the tourism.
Yeah.
I noticed last fall that during the weekdays it was dead downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Weekends would come along, football games would come along. It got a lot busier.
Mm-hmm.
But we noticed a big drop off in September and October in the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
Monday through Wednesday, and an increase on Thursday through the weekend, which was kind of unusual.
Yeah.
This spring has started out a little bit slower than anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering what downtown Boulder is doing for tourism. Where's the marketing for that to get tourists back into downtown Boulder and get the traffic flow back up and stuff with the absence of offices and stuff?
Well, we'll hit on some of the sort of the key issues and then maybe some of the solutions. Before we do that, just want to, John, your perspective. So you've seen the growth of the restaurant industry, the culinary arts in Boulder. How would you characterize the state of affairs?
Well, my perspective is pretty long.
Yeah.
I started writing my Nibbles column in 1985 for the Daily Camera.
Wow.
So I've been writing about Boulder food since then.
Mm-hmm.
And Radio Nibbles has been on the air for 30 plus years, every Thursday talking about food.
Mm.
I was talking to Jay. He started in 1988. I mean, it's a very different environment, restaurant-wise now than it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more choices. I end up interviewing a lot of chefs, restaurant owners, and other people in the industry for my column and on the air. And my overall impression is that things are still extremely difficult.
Yeah.
There are, I think there's a lot of restaurants that haven't recovered from the pandemic because of labor and food costs.
Yeah.
And also because the traffic never came back. Not having lunch traffic, and we don't know if that'll ever come back.
Yeah.
Means that the rent in downtown Boulder is extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sell a freaking lot of tacos to pay that kind of rent.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind make a profit and expand or any of those good things.
None of these guys sell tacos, so that's a
Well,
okay.
Jay will tell you you gotta sell a lot of manicotti too. And there's a number of other things that get mentioned pretty often. It's sort of underappreciated, but I feel like I can speak as the old guy in the group here. My generation, baby boomers, was the core of dining in Boulder up until the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, well, for one thing, they had the money.
Yeah.
They still do too, but post-pandemic, I'm finding amongst that group, a lot of people just aren't going out, or they aren't going out in the winter.
Yeah.
And they get delivery and takeout, but we all know that takeout and delivery actually doesn't help that much. In a way.
Sure.
You need bodies in the building.
Yeah.
Also, there's been a certain culture that's been lost. When there were tons of people out,
Yeah.
let's go here, let's go there. The line's too long there. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not necessarily yet.
Yeah.
Or they're mostly tourists and not locals.
So John, how is it affecting then the character of the culinary environment in Boulder?
Well, I think there's less chance taking,
Yeah.
and that's probably a smart thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ashkara closed.
Yeah.
and it's been replaced by a restaurant that serves more American food.
Yeah.
And they closed.
Hmm?
They closed.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
There you go.
and there's been a few closures lately. 95A and
That's
Lafayette,
right. Yeah.
Lafayette closed, and I think that it's still a struggle right now. And the one thing that really bothered me a lot, besides the electricity going out the other week,
Yeah.
which is very bad for restaurants and food people, by the way.
Miserable.
Sorry. Was that the last bite, or first bite,
Yeah.
was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, with all the Michelin stuff and the James Beards and the Buzz, Coach Pride and everything, that Boulder would be a great place to have a restaurant week.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Yeah.
Chefs can't do it. They don't have the bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
Diners didn't seem to want to go. So I don't know what that means, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Okay. Well, so another point is specifically to downtown Boulder. Given that it is limited parking, people think it's hard to park downtown, hard to get to. The outlying areas, Erie, Louisville, Lafayette, Niwot, those areas have been burgeoning with opening more restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people that live in those areas now don't have to come and fight the traffic or fight for parking and come to downtown Boulder.
Yep.
And I hear it constantly from customers that live in Gun Barrel or that live in Erie or Louisville or Lafayette.
Go to
They say-
Longmont.
Yeah, or Lima. They'd say, yeah, we don't come to Boulder anymore because we've got our own restaurants now.
Yeah.
We've grown so much that we've got our own places that are our own options to go out and eat, and that's affected downtown Boulder, I believe. And I don't see as many of those customers as much.
It's kind of what happened when Crossroads Mall
Mhm.
was suddenly joined by regional malls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it diluted the population. People laugh when I tell them that the hottest dining spot in Boulder County right now is Lafayette.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the bakeries and cafes and.
Yeah.
Well, John, this is
I
a
went there
Boulder
last
based
Saturday.
show.
I understand.
So we
I
stopped.
understand. I understand it, but,
Yeah.
but the people in Boulder are going out there to eat.
Man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the perception lingers that downtown Boulder, not so much obviously 28th Street and other commercial districts, is that it's a difficult place to navigate and park and stuff. It may not be accurate, but I believe that still.
And now they've got other options and they don't have to do that.
Well, let's do this. So I do want to understand a little deeper in what the nature of the challenge and how it plays out in day-to-day business. So you guys have described some of the increased food costs, the lower traffic during the day. Maybe Marcy, just if you spoke to sort of, how are you dealing with this? And, is it, you look down the road and say, boy, this is a growing challenge for me. What's the future?
Well, we've been lucky, I think, with catering to help make up for some of that. So
Yeah.
we'll do, office catering, some school catering, kids going off to lacrosse games on the bus.
Yeah.
So that helps definitely get some sandwiches out the door. And so we've been trying to market more and more to that to make up for it, and that has definitely been helpful. The third party, I will say, as we all know, negotiations are feasible for a lot of these folks. So if they want your business, I love negotiating and seeing the lowest deal I can get. So I've gotten down where it's manageable for us because we do, a decent amount of third party deliveries, and a lot of times people do last minute catering. It'll come through the door at noon and they need 30 sandwiches in 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
We always try to rise to the challenge. Not always easy, but. So that's been extremely helpful to us, and it has helped us keep our doors open. For sure.
Nice, cool. And then Jay, just for you, thinking about all these challenges, just how are you responding to this? Like, how do you keep the engine going amidst many of these challenges?
Well, once again, Marcy hit it on the head with the catering.
Yeah.
The catering has picked up, and so we're aggressively pursuing that and
Yeah.
fulfilling those. And another thing that we've done is during this season, with all the proms and everything, and high school graduations, we've been hitting the local high school kids and local high schools and saying, hey, have your proms and dinners here at Pasta J's and prom parties, graduation parties and stuff like that. And the other thing that we've done is cheaper lunches. $7 to $10 lunches to try to get people in the door that are downtown that are looking for a bargain, a bargain meal for lunch.
Yeah.
So going back to the old school of doing things.
Yeah, I gotcha. And just a price competitive opportunity
exactly.
for some of the lunchtime crowd.
Exactly.
Throw a bottle of wine in there and call it good?
Yeah.
Very good.
For you there is.
No, a whole bottle.
Wasn't that the old school way of doing lunch anyway?
With a martini.
Remember the two martinis?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that was, when I got to Boulder, that was absolutely a thing.
Wow.
And the editors...
Missed that.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Make my job a lot
Seriously.
more fun. So John, just what are you seeing in terms of folks responding to the challenge that's described, the labor costs, the cost of goods, rent costs, et cetera?
Well, let's talk about that, and then, ask me what the good news is.
Yeah, I actually like
focused
this one,
on
yeah.
what's
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah.
What are they doing? A lot of people are turning to a fast casual model.
Yeah.
They're looking for ways to minimize the amount of service that they have to provide.
Yeah.
It's gotten a little bit easier to find people, but the people that they find cost more. I just wrote a column also recently about the whole tipping exhaustion thing and back of house fees, and I worked in a lot of restaurants in Boulder back in the day. People don't really remember that, but I worked at Pearls and Potters and all sorts of places.
Yeah.
So I understand the back of the house, and I've always thought that cooks and dishwashers should be paid more. But
Now they are.
now they are, but what you're talking about is it's come up a number of times on my radio shows. It's that how much it doesn't matter if you use Buckner Ranch beef and you bake your own buns and you make your own aioli and pickled onions. You have this fabulous, local cheese, all of that. If you got to charge $25 for a hamburger, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's only so much you can charge for bacon jam.
Yeah. Well, let me hit on, before we do it, because I do want to think about the future and looking forward positively, but let me ask all of you, just what can the city, what can the community do to support and lift our restaurant community? Buy more sandwiches.
Buy
I know
more
that. I
sandwiches,
got
100%.
Well, that's a big. What events?
I think events, depending, we tend to do well with events down on Pearl Street. I know a lot of the retailers don't always appreciate them. I think encouraging tourists to come in to town is very helpful. With the new hotels on the hill, I know they're trying to devise a plan on how to get folks from the hill down to downtown, which would be super
Aren't we getting
helpful.
that gondola they've been promising for 40 years?
That is my vision, but I don't have yet the whole community around it.
It can land right in front of St. Julian, where that Civic Plaza is supposed to be.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. I mean, who wouldn't want to take a gondola? But just the more folks in and around the downtown area, I think for us is helpful. We're the fast casual. It's a quick stop. You can grab a sandwich and carry on. So that is helpful to us.
Jay, what do you think?
I think the increase in tourism
Yeah.
would help us out a lot.
Sure.
I mean, getting the offices, getting people back to work would help a lot.
Yeah.
Downtown offices.
Gotcha.
I know that there was a proposal on the new place that they're building at Balsam and Broadway that they're moving the city offices
Yeah.
to there.
Yeah.
I mean, why not put the city offices in downtown where all the vacancies are? And to have the city people work downtown where they're working for.
Yeah.
And then they're spending money downtown and they're part of the economy instead of shoveling them off half a mile away where they're not going to come downtown to eat, or they're going to be driving downtown or whatever they might be. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what poor planning in the city happened there. I don't know if we should edit that, but that is right. I mean, you got all those empty office spaces, and you got city workers.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be part of the community,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's put all the city workers downtown.
Yeah.
That would fill the office spaces. That would create more vitality.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one little simple thing.
Yeah, cool. I hear you. And I mean, it is interesting. I will say that I just, even the city though, it's interesting. There are a lot of remote workers. So it's kind of, they're dealing with the same thing that maybe many of the
How
offices
are they building
do.
that big building for them?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on this episode of Chamber Chat, but I will. Jay. Well, let me ask you, John, what things do you think of that would support the success of the restaurant industry?
Specifically downtown?
Or just in general, across the city?
Well, I
Just
think-
Boulder, not the surrounding area.
Yeah. We're more Lafayette talk.
Well, there are other commercial districts in Boulder.
Yeah.
The Hill is really interesting right now.
Mhm.
Especially, we'll see what happens. I think Broadway and College and that whole area is going to get
Blown up.
No, it's going to be really hard to drive. But
Yeah.
that's a separate issue.
Mhm.
There's new places opening.
Mhm.
I don't think enough is done to encourage locals
Mhm.
to eat locally at independent restaurants.
Mhm.
I mean, if you take all the workers, including the city workers, out of downtown, and you don't replace it with people living downtown or whatever, you change the dynamic.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that locals do anymore.
Mhm.
They're not down there, enough.
Yeah.
And that's the vitality of the Pearl Street Mall and everything, shouldn't depend just on visitors.
Yeah.
I understand it's important income and everything, but you want
So more to get the locals to come
Yeah.
shop at the
Right.
local
Right.
stores and restaurants. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it is the parking perception. Like, there's nowhere to park, but there's so many vacancies in our parking garages, and for whatever reason, people feel the need to just drive around and find a spot on the street instead of just going straight to the garage.
Yeah.
I don't
that's
know.
true.
I gotcha.
But getting Pearl Street open West Pearl open was the right thing
Significant
to do.
Yeah. No, we were right there with you, Jen, on that
Yeah.
one. Well, let me
We've
just
also-
ask. Let's turn it to the future, positive looking. What gives you hope about the strength of your establishment and the restaurant industry generally? And John raised his hand to say something right off top.
there is tons of good news about food in Boulder. People don't realize how vibrant the farm agriculture part of this is.
Yeah.
Local artisan food producers, bakers, chocolatiers, all those people. That part of the economy here, natural foods, obviously, is just vibrant. Also, Boulder restaurants are winning Michelin awards,
Yeah.
getting James Beard nominations.
Yeah.
And, I've spent 40 years trying to get people to notice Boulder
Yeah.
and how cool it was and what was going on here food-wise. And now it's really, there's all these incredible things going on, great chefs, great ethnic dining.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 34 years.
So flashback 34 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the diversity of cuisines and
Yeah.
dining opportunities here now is so much better.
No, it's fascinating that the upscale nature and the diversity is absolutely there. And so that to me is still a special element of the Boulder dining community. The question is, how are those restaurants doing? How do we support them, keep them going forward? So let me ask the two of you, just what gives you hope? What makes you think, yep, this is the brighter future ahead?
How about you go first, Marcy?
Well, I mean,
I'm
I love
following you.
John, I love you bringing up all the agriculture because we started at the farmers market, so we work with a lot of local farmers.
Yeah.
We work with local bakers, ranchers, all food entrepreneurs. I always say I'm the easiest sell if someone comes in and, would you want to sell my product here? I'm like, well, if we have space for sure, if you're local and organic, let's give it a whirl.
Cool.
Pretty much no questions asked. That day they usually have product in. because I love supporting other people, helping each other out. You know, and if we're their first stepping stone, great. You know, if they can say, "Oh, we're at Organic Sandwich Company. Do you want to give us a try?" And if that helps them, it just warms my heart. Because we're such an incubator, I think, for natural and organic products, for restaurant concepts, and all sorts of things. So I do think people look to Boulder for concepts like that, and I love that we can be a part of it. I think there's a lot of benefit to being a restaurant owner in downtown Boulder. Every time you talk to the Downtown Boulder Partnership crew, when they go to other cities around the country, they're like, people look to us like we are the gold standard. They're like, wow, you're with Downtown Boulder Partnership. That's amazing. What are you doing? And they ask questions and share comments and advice, and it makes me feel proud to be a part of that kind of community, and I think that there's still really good things ahead for us.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely. And I like the innovative part that you said. I mean, that is true. The country does look to us. I think a lot of it too is the university. I mean, the university's growing. It offers. This is one of the best college towns in America, if not the best one. And I think that
Coach Prime
coming into town with the job Rick George has done as athletic director, Phil DiStefano as chancellor, I think all creates a very welcoming business climate. And I think that's going to proceed forward, especially with building the new conference center, the new hotel up there, and so the Boulder is growing, and it's still very attractive.
Agreed.
So that's what keeps us going.
Well, any other thoughts from you, John?
Just that the most important thing for people to do is to, in whatever way they can, make the choice to support local independent restaurants who are, doing interesting things. I've been here writing about food in Boulder since the late 1970s. I have seen maybe 1,000 restaurants open and close in Boulder. Hundreds. Just in the past few years, we've seen a lot close. So I mean, I when I look to the ones that are holding their own and thriving, and they, it's a lot of it is just basic good restauranting,
Good management.
principles.
Good management, good food, that kind of thing.
Right, but spend your money. Spend your money at those restaurants. Not at a chain restaurant. Although I understand they employ local people and everything, but what makes this place interesting are the cool entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things in food here.
That's a great way to close this out too.
And I'm going to add one more thing.
Oh, please do.
No,
I'm not going to close it out. One more thing.
The community support, the synergism between Pasta J's and the community is what's been keeping us open all these years. And that's what we look forward to. The community events that we support, because the community has supported us so well. And so it's, my manager is always telling me, no more golf tournaments. You're sponsoring too many golf tournaments. Because you're not a 501c, and you're running it like a 501c, and I'm like, no, but you got to get back to the community, because the community's really supported us. It goes both ways. So it's another thing that keeps us going.
I agree, and I'll say that's an even better way to conclude the conversation. I'll just say, because the three of you, I just feel very fortunate that we got you together for this conversation, because you, in your unique entrepreneurial ventures, have supported our community. John, you have been such a voice for our culinary environment over, as you say, for quite some time, and have that perspective. And so I'm so thankful for what you contribute, each of you, to the community and to our dining character. And so, viva it, and we're going to be here to support you. So I thank you so much for spending time with us on Chamber Chat. I know you're busy. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. So we'll close it out there. Get out there. Go to your local restaurant. Don't even just get the manicotti. Get that bottle of wine, a couple extra sandwiches, and then read your Boulder Weekly. All right. We'll see you next time on Chamber Chat.